Big addition.
What's up, you guys? TechChucker here, and today I've got a review for you of the Marvel Legends Spider-Man Homecoming Spider-Man MJ 2-pack. Now, I have to say, I almost wasn't able to get this figure, or this set, because it was street dated for May 31st. The first time I found it, they had it out on the shelves, but they wouldn't sell it to me at Target, and then I came back a couple days later, and they were selling it for some reason. So obviously, they changed the street date, or I don't know what it was. But let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and crack this thing open and take a closer look. And here they are out of package, and they're looking really, really good. But we're going to take a look at the articulation first on these. And we're going to start with Spider-Man. His head is on a ball hinge, and he can look up about that far, which is pretty decent. He can look down about that far. That gets his chin all the way down into his chest. He's able to look side to side. There's nothing getting in the way there. And then there is a little bit of tilt in his head. Not a huge amount, but enough. Moving down into the shoulders, he's got ball hinges in the shoulders, and he's got pretty good range of motion. He can get his arm above his shoulder there. He's got good he's got good rotation there. And then he has a upper bicep swivel, which works pretty good. Now, I've noticed that this is getting a little bit loose, but that could just be mine. Who knows? He has double jointed elbows. Those work really, really well. Also, all the way in half. Awesome. And then he does have peg and hinge joints in his wrists. The one issue that I am finding is that the jacket cuff does kind of hinder that, but that is okay with me. I'm not going to complain too much about that. The one thing that we should also notice is there is no butterfly joints, but with this jacket, I don't think a butterfly joint would have gotten us anywhere anyway. Moving down into the torso, he's got a hinge joint, and he's got really good range of motion there. He's able to bend all the way forward, pretty much, and because of the jacket getting in the way, that's about as far as he's going to arch his back, but they do continue that sculpt, which is nice. He has a waist swivel that works really, really well. Moving down into the hips, he's got T-jointed ball joints, and yeah. Not very good range of motion there, and it is not because of the jacket. The jacket's not getting in the way. Come on, Hasbro. Anyway, he can kick forward just over 90 degrees, which is nice. I really like that. He can't kick back. That's really? Okay, whatever. He has a upper thigh swivel that works really, really good, and he's got double jointed knees. Again, those work really, really well. Moving down further, there is no boot cut or anything, but he does have a hinge in the ankle. He can get his foot all the way down and that far forward, which is actually really quite good. I'm very pleased with that. And then he's got a good ankle rocker as well. So overall, articulation is pretty well standard for this figure. Not amazing, but it's still pretty good. All right, let's take a look at MJ, her articulation. Her head is on a ball hinge, and because of the hair on this particular head sculpt, she's not really able to look up much, but she is able to get her chin all the way down into her chest, which is good. She's got decent side to side. This hair does, just kind of brush on the shoulder, so it is a little bit limiting. She has really good tilt. That's really nice to get some of that that attitude that she has from the movie. So you're not going to be disappointed there. Moving down into the shoulder, she's got a ball hinge in her shoulder. She can get her arm up and over the shoulder, which is awesome. She has good full rotation there. No bicep swivel, but there is a swivel at the elbow. Single jointed elbow, about 90 degrees, not too bad. And then there is a peg and hinge in the wrist area. Nothing getting in the way there. Moving down into the torso, she's got that standard ball joint in the torso, and yeah, pretty much nothing. The back is pretty much nothing as well. That's kind of disappointing. She is kind of able to swivel, not a lot though, and then side-to-side crunch is also pretty limited. No waist swivel, that also is disappointing. Down in the hips, she's got T-jointed ball joints, and look at that, so much better than Spidey. She should be wearing the spider suit if she's got that kind of flexibility. Anyway, she's got About 90-degree kick, that's pretty darn good. And how far back can she kick? Pretty much nothing back. She has an upper thigh swivel, that works pretty good. Double jointed knees, those also work really, really well. Look at that, all the way in half. There is no boot cut, but she does have a hinge in the ankle. She can get her foot all the way back, and she can get her foot all the way forward like that. I mean, that's pretty darn good. That's uncomfortable. She probably should go to the doctor for that. And then she also has an ankle rocker, which works really quite well. So overall, if I had to give these two a grade for articulation, I'd probably give them about a B. But I don't have to give them a grade, so, you know, whatever. And next up, let's take a look at the sculpt and paintwork on these figures. Again, we're going to start with Spider-Man. This figure, I really, really love the sculpt and paintwork on this. I think Hasbro did a really good job with this. I love the red tone. It's a bit of a muted tone, same with the blue, but I think it really, really works. I really like it. This jacket looks amazing. I think they did a great job. It's actually 2 layers. You've got the inside, which is, I don't know, kind of a black. And then they've got the zipper painted with the silver. And then on the inside, you've actually got his suit. If you don't recall from the movie, this is the scene where he's stuck in that bunker. It's got the emblem here, which is pretty cool. It's very nicely painted. The only thing that would have made this even better is if the jacket was removable and you could actually have him with the jacket off. But because these arms are yellow, you're really not going to be doing that. This hood, which is technically not connected here, but it is connected on the inside part of the jacket, so that's a nice touch. It looks really good, just really nicely done. The paint is all very, very cleanly painted. All of these lines here are sculpted a little bit, so there is that extra texture, which is really nice. The eyes are painted very cleanly. Nothing really to complain about with this figure. I just think they did a nice job with it. These lines on the legs, they aren't sculpted here on the blue, but they're painted very, very cleanly. I haven't found any real major issues with the paint. And then that comes down into the legs. Now this is sculpted with a little bit of texture. Again, the web lines are actually painted, or sculpted I should say. And so there is just a lot of paint and sculpt work throughout this figure. I just really love it. The only thing that I would have liked to see maybe a little bit different is these arms to just be a little bit thicker. They seem a little spindly, but even still, I think maybe it's just me. I'm being a little picky. They even have the cuffs here black to contrast with this, so that you can see that it's the inside sweatshirt jacket that he's got there. You can see the little zipper there painted. Man, there's just so many cool details on here. Well done, Hasbro. And then we can bring in Zendaya here, who played MJ in the movie. And even though I already gushed about the Spider-Man figure, the Zendaya MJ is probably even better for the sculpt and paint. The hair, we'll start with that, is painted or sculpted very, very nicely. The only thing that would have been nicer is if this hair was a little bit softer so that it could allow for a little bit more range of motion, but it is sculpted really, really nicely. And I think there's just a touch of paint on there to give it a little bit of contrast, not a lot. But this face sculpt is pretty well spot on with the actress. I think they did a really good job, and the eyes are painted very cleanly. They painted the lips. Skin tone looks really, really nice. I just think they did a great job. This jacket looks really good. There's some nice detail sculpted in here. Really good paint job here. There's a little bit of paint missing up here on the shoulder on the black part, but the rest of it is painted very, very well. Just a lot of nice details. You get the actual zipper is painted. That's always nice to see that detail. Then moving down, the rest of the figure really doesn't have any paint on the pants or anything, but there is still a lot of sculpt work. You can see the belt and the belt loops and all of the wrinkles sculpted in. So if you want to really make this figure pop, just go ahead and throw a little bit of extra paint on there, and I'll bet you really will make this figure pop. But I like down here on the cuffs on the pant legs, there's that little slit there. It's not quite a capri, but it's a shorter pant. I have no idea style-wise what that's called, but that looks really, really cool. And then they've painted the skin tone of her ankles. Then these boots, these are sculpted very well. They're really cool looking. They painted the belt buckle, again, a nice touch. with these high heels, she is still fairly easy to stand. Sometimes the female characters with their high heels are really difficult to stand. This one is actually very easy to stand up. And then I also didn't notice or note before, but she has a little watch-like bracelet that is painted, and the silver there is painted pretty cleanly. So overall, this figure, I would say, is the winner, but still this Spider-Man is really awesome Spider-Man. I really like both of these very, very much. And real quickly, we'll go ahead and measure these two to see just how tall they are. Starting with Peter Parker Spider-Man, he is coming in at about 5 inches, 5 3/4 inches tall, so a little bit on the short side, I would say. And then Zendaya's MJ is coming in at just about 6 inches with the heels. I do think, if I recall right in the movie, she is just a hair taller than Tom Holland, but it still scales pretty well, I would say. Let's throw Deadpool in between them just to get a better size comparison of the two teenagers and an adult. Obviously, Deadpool is considerably taller. He's like 6.5 inches tall, so he is still towering over the teenage kiddos here. But, I think actually, now that I think about it, I do think that they are scaled really quite well. So again, good job to Hasbro, and Deadpool's down. And last but not least, let's talk accessories. And unfortunately, there aren't very many that come with this set. In fact, the one figure that comes with the most is Zendaya, and that is very, very limited. She comes with this alternate head. It has a ponytail, and that is sculpted very, very well. Not really much for paint on the hair, but it still looks really good. Just be careful, because this ponytail, I'm gonna guess, could break off if you're not careful about it. Eyes and lips are painted very cleanly, so good job Hasbro for that. I really like this little bang piece that's hanging over. Very, very good job. Let's go ahead and throw this on her so that we can see what it looks like. That's a tight fit. There we go. That looks pretty darn good. Although I do kind of like this head a little bit better for her. It just gives a little bit more attitude, I'm going to say, especially since she's frowning in this one and kind of smiling in this one. And then the other accessory that she comes with is an additional set of hands. She actually gets a holding hand, which I don't know what she's going to be holding, and then she has this hand, which is kind of we saw this with the other MJ Spider-Man 2-pack. It's an okay hand. It works, but I would have almost preferred 2 fist hands. But, we can't get everything that we want. And then Peter Parker Spider-Man, he does not come with an alternate head, which is the biggest disappointment. I would have liked to have had an alternate unmasked head, a Tom Holland head. Now, obviously, we've gotten a Tom Holland head. I don't remember what set it was from, so you probably could throw that on there and make that work, but it would have been great if we had gotten that. But we do get another web whipping hand, and then we get another fist hand. So overall, the accessories that this set comes with are pretty limited, and for $40, I do wish that both characters would have gotten alternate heads, and maybe it would have been cool to have some webs or something. But there you have it. I still think this is a really good set. I'm really glad that I was able to get it and review it, because in hand is a really cool set. I really like both of these figures very, very much. So there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave a comment. What do you think of this set yourself? And until next time, I'll see you later.